Welcome to my parlor. Welcome, traveler, to the Hidden Corner Finds. I am Joanne, and this is my humble store. Pull up a chair, stay a while, make yourself at home. What? Oh, you want to know what I'm selling? Everything and anything. In short, I have a passion for Ugh, why did it just bleep me? All I said was I have a passion for picking, I said. Yeesh. You can't say anything on YouTube these days without this censorship. Anyways, as I was saying, I have a passion for picking. For me, there is nothing more satisfying than finding a unique and forgotten item and uniting it with someone who will really appreciate it for years to come. Whether it's a soapstone carving, an old book, or simply a mug to make you laugh, I try and find something for everyone. My goal is to make you a confident buyer. Older items often have a lifetime of stories to tell. I strive to describe the good as well as the bumps and bruises they've experienced along the way. It's important that the pictures reflect what you will receive. To that end, I always encourage questions and will do my best to respond as quick as possible. Appreciate you stopping by the store. If you can't find what you're looking for, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm always looking for new ideas and will keep an eye out for your item in my travels.
God damn it! Honey, what the f*** happened to my action figure collection?
Whoops, gotta go. Bye.
Well, hello and welcome back to Monster Monday with Johnny Tiger. Yes, of course, we're going to be looking at another action figure. But opening the show, we have this one is the Shadow Dragon from Schleich Outdoor, I believe. Not quite an action figure and not quite a statue. It's kind of straddled that line between action figure, statue, or just a more detailed toy for children. Nonetheless, it is a pretty good looking dragon and definitely worthy of opening the show for us because today we are going to be looking at a dragon like character, um, perhaps one of the very few draconian or dragonling or dragon something hybrid, dragonborn in my collection. Yeah, it's actually surprising, right? Like, Dragon's so popular, but we actually haven't had a lot of dragon type characters unless you want to count like the Dragon Man from um, Hasbro, and of course, Four Horsemen got the really, really awesome Arachagor from the Poxus uh, series in the Mythic Legions. And I think there's a big bad toy store repaint of Arachagor. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Um, so yeah, there's been a couple of dragon-like characters out there, but yeah, they are surprisingly far and few in between, which kind of lead to one of my bitterness with regarding to the figure we're going to be looking at today because all the other dragon type characters we've seen thus far has been pretty big, and I thought he was going to be pretty big. But anyway, before I talk more about that, let's have a look at our packaging for Algar, the first receiver, or also known as Algar, the Last Scion, whatever a Scion is. Now it's been quite a handful of months since I took this guy out of the box, so I don't remember much about the unboxing experience other than there wasn't anything really exceptional about it. A very standard boxed action figure. There's no amazing backdrop to be used as a display artwork, and there's no great storytelling at the back of the box. What little bio information you have there is kind of cryptic and not very well written. Accessory wise, this is also on the slim side, especially for $80 to $100 action figure. You got a little bit of soft goods, a little skirt thing, and a little cape thing that have anywhere, a sword, a flame effect, an extra head, and a couple of pairs of hands, and a display stand. Now, there's no question about it. Algar is a beautiful looking figure. He got many, many scales all over him, and his coloration is basically, from what I can remember, it's like purple and red and gold and tan, and there's a lot of shading all over the figure from all the reviews I have read. So yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful figure, right? I mean, the flame effect is pretty cool, and the sword in his hand is pretty cool. Uh, but he has turned out to be quite a disappointment for me. But that is not really the fault of the figure, more the fault of um, well, being blind, really. You see, when I saw the listing for this figure, say Algar the First Receiver, doesn't tell me anything, right? Like that's one of the problem I always had with 5K toys, which is where I get most of my Chinese third party action figures. Is 5K toys, they don't really list the accessories. They don't really give you the description. They just list the name of the figure and then post some photos on Instagram, and you are supposed to just go off of that. Which for most of you sighted folks, that works. For me, it's like a crapshoot every time, right? So when I saw this thing go out for pre-order, called Algar the Last Scion, or the First Receiver, I had no idea what he was. So I grabbed the photos and put it up to my AI, and my AI told me it's a character that looks like a big and muscular dragon type character. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then a few photos later, I showed other photos to AI, and the AI said, "Oh, you look like you got a sword. Even better. I like action figure with swords." And then AI said, "It looked very intricate, um, really good sculptural textures, and it has a flame effect. I liked everything I heard, especially the big dragon type character part, right? So, seeing that this was last year, 2024, which was the Chinese Year of the Dragon, I said, okay, that's it. We're going to buy us a big dragon type character. Well, the first problem was by the time he arrived, it's no longer Year of the Dragon. By the time he arrived, it's 2025, Year of the Snake. So that didn't really work out for me to have a uh, Year of the Dragon mascot. And then at first, when I held the box in my hand, I was thinking this got to be a mistake. Did they send me the wrong thing? Because the expectation was a big dragon type character. So I was thinking Dragon Man, Arachagor, and some other dragon like characters. Usually they are pretty good size. Even if they are not very tall, usually they are pretty thick and pretty muscular. No. I mean, the box that Algar came in, you wouldn't even be able to fit this Shadow Dragon into it. And this Shadow Dragon is really not that big. It's pretty small. And so Algar, uh, rather than being big and burly and impressive, turned out to be rather skinny and light and small. I mean, he's like 7 inches tall, so height wise, he's okay. He'll display fine, especially if you're into Dragonborn and Draconian, because they are supposed to be just normal human size anyway. But you can see where this went wrong for me, right? Like, I was expecting a big dragon type character. So, yeah, once I started getting past the disappointment of having such a small, skinny, scrawny type of character. I mean, this guy really, without all this accoutrement on him, without his sword, without his flame, without his outfit, his profile actually reminds me a lot of something like Pumpkinhead or one of the xenomorph aliens. He just got that really lanky, scrawny look about him, which is personally not my type of character. I don't like characters that build like that. Um, so, but once I got past the mismatched expectation, I started to enjoy his how articulated he was. He's this guy is very articulated. Has butterfly joints, wired tail, wired outfit, uh, double jointed knee, double jointed elbows, and because he's so scrawny, you can get him into some really deep crouching poses and stands. Speaking of stands, he come with this display stand with a clamp on it. One of these, I don't know what you call it, like floating stands, I guess. When I first got this out of the box, it was really floppy. The arm of the stand, it couldn't hold up his weight. I had to take a screwdriver and tighten up everything before it could hold him up like this. And then, uh, what even more annoying was some of the other QC issues that started creeping up. I mean, we are talking about a figure that is about $80 US to $100 US, depending on where you buy it. Uh, it's other than being very good looking, other than the paint job is really amazing, and the articulation is pretty decent. There's just so much about him that not really living up to that price tag. I know. He's made by Romankey and Cowl. I don't know if is that two companies, Romankey and Cowl. I think so. Um, it's like a collaboration between the two companies. I think Romankey made the figure and Cowl, I'm guessing, made the soft goods. Um, I understand that these third party figures tend to be a little bit more expensive, uh, but most of the time, you pay $90, $100, and you get it in your hand, and you say, "Wow, there's so much stuff. There's so much uh, going on with the figures that it's totally worth it." Sadly, for me, and partly because I can't enjoy the paint job, I don't get that feel. I don't get the wow. This was $80, $90 well spent. I don't get that with this guy. With this guy, it's more like maybe I should have saved my money. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the QC issues after we come back from the uh, next slide, where we'll look at the articulation, some of the posing options. This Algar the First Receiver would have been what I call a hand candy, if not for a few rather annoying flaws. He is really well articulated. He can get into some really deep lunges and deep squats and bend the torso almost bending double. The elbows and knees are double jointed. But the second head, the one with the open jaw, will constantly fall off. The little wired soft goods will constantly drift up, floating around most annoyingly. the flame effect for his mouth will just not stay in. And if you try to articulate the jaw on the other head, the jaw will just simply fall off. Oh yeah, that tail is constantly falling off as well. And do be careful with the wire in the tail, don't break them. Now, normally during a review video, I would at least take the figure off the stand and fiddle around, get him in different poses, and show you guys a thing or two. But this guy is to the point that I don't really want to touch him. And part of that is the problem with the QC issue. Uh, the head falls off very easily, the tail falls off very easily. The little outfit doesn't really want to stay in place. A lot of time you got to uh, fiddle around with the different wires and stuff to make sure they lay flat or properly, and then the flame in his mouth won't stay put. I actually have to use a double-sided foam tape in his mouth to hold that in. And even then, after a few hours, it will just droop or fall right off. So as you guys can see, like right now, got the flame kind of balanced on the blade of his sword. So that will help hold up the flame a little bit. However, that sword is tend to warp as well. When I took it out of the package, it was so warped that it was like one of those Todd McFarlane uh, floppy accessories, and I had to heat it up 4 times, 5 times already to straighten it up. But every single time, after a few hours, it would just start to droop or warp some more. Like again, if this was a $40 figure, I wouldn't be feeling the way I do. But seeing this was a over $80 US figure, like soft, droopy weapon, flame effects that won't stay put, extra head that won't stay put, and the original head it comes with, the articulated jaw. Let me see if I have the head here, and I can show you guys. Okay, so oops, this is this is the original head, the one, and this head has the articulated jaw. But when you try to use the articulated jaw, see how it just pops off. Like there's nothing holding this jaw on. It just yeah. Like why would you give an action figure flame that won't stay on, extra head that won't stay on, articulated jaw that won't stay on, and little soft good outfit that well doesn't really cover anything. Like what is the point of him wearing that anyway? I don't know. That just uh, kind of boggles the mind of what kind of thought process went into making this figure. Uh, with the amount of money they charged, honestly, they could have just make a third head with the flame effect already attached, like molded to the head, and that would at least alleviate most of the problem with the flame falling off. So if you can look past all that, if you can enjoy how beautiful the paint job is on this guy, and then I think he's decent, right? I think you will get your money worthwhile because he is well painted, he is well articulated, but I think even for a party company, when you want to charge $80 to $100, you are coming into that uh, figure arts, you're coming into the Storm collectibles, you're coming into the Matty toys, memory toys, uh, Grey Knight, Mithril Studio, Snail Shell. You're coming into the territory where a lot of those big dogs are playing. And this offering, while beautiful looking, I think quality is not up to par, and size is not up to par, and accessory count is not up to par. Thank you for watching today's review. Stay a little bit longer so we have some size comparison video and my final words on this figure. I'll admit that my assessment of this figure is not very favorable, and it is not totally fair because it is a beautiful figure by all accounts, and it has been on many people's figure of the year list. I personally, well, of course, the well painted part doesn't really do me any good, and even though it is well articulated, the lack of accessories, the lack of size, it is not very big. It's kind of scrawny looking, and all this little QC problem like the jaws falling off, the flame effect won't stay attached. On top of that being an $80, $100 figure, yeah, no, it's just not doing it for me.